And the impeachment inquiry into President Trump involves dozens of witnesses. Many of them have already testified behind closed doors. Dasha Burns explains who's who in this impeachment inquiry.
All right, let's take a big step back here and understand just who it is that we're talking about. These hearings, the two we heard today and the one we'll hear on Friday, are all focused on witnesses involved in U.S. policy in Ukraine. Let's start with George Kent. Kent is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs. Long way of saying he's a high-level official involved in Ukraine policy at the State Department. He's been in the Foreign Service since 1992. He's very much a career diplomat who served under multiple administrations, both Democrat and Republican. Much of his past diplomatic experience has involved Ukraine, so he's an expert on the topic. Next, let's look at Bill Taylor. Taylor is also a career public servant. He's currently the acting U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, meaning he's the country's top diplomat there. He actually replaced Marie Yovanovitch, who will be testifying on Friday. A bit on Taylor's background. He's a Vietnam War vet who worked in government service for about 50 years. He's also worked under Republicans and Democrats. In fact, he's already served as ambassador to Ukraine. He was nominated by President Bush in 2006 and remained in the role until 2009. Now, George Kent is the one who initially revealed that Ukraine policy was delegated to the three amigos. That included EU Ambassador Gordon Sondland, Energy Secretary Rick Perry, and former Ukraine envoy Kurt Volker. These men were tapped by Mick Mulvaney, sidelining Ukraine experts like Kent. Now, one of those amigos, Kurt Volker, turned over text messages to Congress when he stepped down from his role. Those texts shed more light on who was involved and how, including Bill Taylor, who was regularly messaging with and expressing concern to Gordon Sondland. In one instance, Taylor texted Sondland, "The message to the Ukrainians and Russians we send with the decision on security assistance is key. With the hold, we have already shaken their faith in us, thus my nightmare scenario." In another instance, "As I said on the phone, I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign." So clearly someone privy to the White House activities on this. His testimony holds quite a bit of weight. Now, jumping back for a minute to George Kent. He was also witness to the campaign to oust Marie Yovanovitch. And he addressed that both in his closed-door testimony and today. Which brings us to the testimony we'll be hearing on Friday from former Ukraine Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch. It was Rudy Giuliani's business associates who pushed for her ouster, Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman. They were helping with Giuliani's alleged pressure campaign to get Ukraine to investigate the Bidens. They were recently arrested for trying to influence U.S. politics with illegal campaign contributions. So we'll have to see what else Yovanovitch's public testimony reveals on Friday.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.